every day in every city room comes that hectic time when all the footwork, rewrite, captioning, cartooning, press work, when all the news from all over the world comes together into a newspaper you can read. This is where the pros earn their money. Reporter to rewrite to makeup to city desk. The stories that shock a nation, move them, make them laugh, begin here. Like this one. The most shocking news story of the last few years concerns a man who writes a daily syndicated column, Victor Riesel. In the world of labor, Victor Riesel has many friends, leaders of giant unions and rank-and-filers, like Fred Lowry and his wife, Judy. The Victor Riesel story begins here. Their money was running out, bills piled high. Fred and Judy Lowry faced all the tensions of a month without work.
Where are you going?
I'm out of cigarettes.
There's some in my bag.
I want to get some air.
Fred, take off your jacket and talk to me.
I just don't want you worrying is all.
You're going to see him, that newspaper man?
Yes, I am. I've got it. I've been working 4 years trying to help build a union, to get decent working conditions. And I'm not going to let these hoodlums move in and take over. They make you toe the line. They make you kick back to them. And when you open your mouth, they tear up your union card and you don't work.
I wasn't thinking of you, Fred. And I wasn't thinking of myself.
Stop it. You're imagining things. They wouldn't do anything to a kid.
Are you sure?
Riesel is a newsman. He goes where his story takes him. If the story leads to the tough New York waterfront, that's where Victor Riesel begins.
Fred Lowry? Mr. Riesel?
Vic. What's going on up here where it's quiet, huh?
Well, it's like I was telling you, Mr. Riesel. We were holding a meeting. There were 200-300 men there. When this big goon gets up, a real mean-looking guy, and he says, "Gentlemen, meet your new president." Then he points to this joker named Steele.
Henry Steele?
Yeah, you know him?
I could write his biography. Bookmaking, narcotics, prostitution. Of course, that only covers his youth.
Some president. Well, anyway, I get up and I say, "What do you mean, our new president? Who elected him?" And then this big guy turns around and says, "Sergeant of Arms, remove that guy. He's making a disturbance." The first thing I know, 2 goons come walking down the aisle. And they worked me over. And they bounced me out. The next day, I found out I was suspended. That was over a month ago. And I haven't worked a day since.
Have you thought of going to the police?
Yeah, I thought about it. I also thought about my wife and kid.
Yeah. This kind of guy plays rough, Fred. I've seen him. Making guys pay for their jobs, making small businessmen pay for the right to stay open, raking it in from both ends. In the old days, they'd try to move in on my father's outfit. My father had different ideas, so the mob worked him over. They did a pretty good job.
You're gonna do a column about Steele.
I wouldn't miss it for the world, Fred. Trouble is, one column isn't enough. I like to grab these guys where it hurts and keep hammering. For that, you need black and white proof. A lot of it.
Maybe I can get you some proof.
How?
Before I was bounced out, I was on the executive committee. I still have a key to the office.
No. Don't try it, Fred. You'll be taking your life in your hands.
Aren't you?
I'm a newspaper man. That makes me immune. Unwritten code of the underworld. Come on, Fred, I'll drive you home.
This is the office of the Hall Syndicate, a company that supplies Victor Rizel's column to 277 newspapers throughout the country, including the New York Daily Mirror.
Mr. Williams called twice. He wants you to call him back.
Oh, okay. Oh, Betty, when you get a minute, get me the file on Henry Steele. I want everything we've got. Arrests, convictions, the works. I'm gonna do a blast.
Okay, Vic. Yes? Well, just a minute, please. It's a lawyer named Matthew Gordon. He says he represents Henry Steele.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Rizel. I understand you've received certain information about my client. Well, we believe it's false information. We'd like you to listen to our side of the story before you print.
Well, I'm always willing to listen, Mr. Gordon.
How about today? Fine. Mr. Steele's townhouse in half an hour. Yes. Yes, East 62nd Street.
I'll be there. Betty, call Williams for me. Tell him I'll be tied up the rest of the morning, huh?
Vic?
Yep.
Do you think it's wise going to Steele's apartment? I mean, you could meet him in a restaurant where there's lots of people around.
You're a sweet kid, Betty. But when I go to the zoo, I like to see the gorillas in their natural surroundings. Smells and all.
You know, I think we should make it clear to Rizel that we intend to institute a libel action.
Stop making with a lawyer talk. I can handle Victor Rizel.
You'd better be careful, Henry. Rizel isn't one of your...
My what?
Nothing.
My flunkies? My goons? Don't be bashful, Matt. Just remember, you get paid from the same bank account they do. Till I get tired of you. Vic! Good to see you, boy.
Hello, Henry.
How are you? You're looking marvelous.
Pretty good. A little heavier, a little angrier.
A little heavier, maybe? Angrier? Impossible. I'd like to have you meet Matt Gordon, my attorney.
Yes, we met on the phone.
Gosh, I haven't seen you since... When was it?
The day you were convicted for extortion.
Yeah. What are you drinking, Vic?
Let's skip the amenities, Henry. What's the pitch?
Vic, I've come a long way since the old days. Quit the rackets. Gone into the labor movement. I'm trying to do a good job. Unfortunately, there are always some troublemakers around trying to rake up muck. Like that young fellow you spoke to the other night. What's his name?
I don't know who you mean.
Fred something.
Lowry.
That's it. Lowry. Fred Lowry. Bitter against the world. I don't know why. You know, he tried to break up one of our meetings once. Should have heard him. Shouting, yelling. He might be a psycho. Or a commie. He's one of the two. Vic, I'm telling you this for your own good. You might look pretty silly, printing anything a guy like that gave you.
You might look sillier, Henry.
Vic, you got the wrong idea. I'm legitimate now. I got a wife, family. I just bought myself a home in the country.
Why, only last week, Mr. Steele was appointed chairman of the Associated Charity Drive for his area.
That's a fact. Helen? Busy all the time. Look. Take a look at this. That a handsome boy here, isn't it? 18 years old. Just entered college. Vic, you blast me, you're going to be hurting a lot of innocent people.
All right. I'll make you a proposition.
Well?
If you're so legitimate, take me down to your office right now and let me look at your books.
Today's a bad day, Vic. How about tomorrow?
Give you a chance to doctor them, not on your life.
That's unfair, Mr. Rizal, as well as unfounded. The books of Mr. Steele's organization are by law open to any properly ordered inspection and audit. Surely you must realize it would take considerable time and attention to bring them up to date for you.
You know, you guys hand me a laugh. You strong-arm your way into a union, dip your hands into the welfare fund, and all of a sudden you're labor leaders. Well, I don't buy it, mister, and neither will the American public.
Now, just a moment.
Now, you just a moment. I happen to know some real labor leaders. Men like George Meany, Walter Reuther, Dave Dubinsky, and a lot of others. If you want it straight, I don't think you're fit to wipe their shoes.
Look here, Rizal.
And you're even worse than he is, Gordon. Without your pinstripe respectability, he'd really look like the bum he is. Your alma mater must be real proud of you.
Fred Lowry?
Yeah?
I'd like to talk to you. We're from the union.
I don't remember seeing you guys before.
We're new members, discipline committee.
Who is it, Fred?
Just a couple of guys from the local. What's on your mind?
He went to a newspaper man last night and made a beef about Henry Steele taking over the local.
Yeah?
Now you go to the other guys in the local and you're making trouble.
So?
So lay off. Now, this is what Henry Steele says. You pay your fine for disrupting the meeting. You get your card back, you go back to work. Everybody's happy.
How much of a fine?
$500.
$500 for the right to work. Well, you go back and tell Mr. Steele that before I'm through, that he and all his stooges will be back where they belong, behind bars.
No, please, no, please.
Take it slow, kid. How do you feel?
It only hurts when I laugh.
You want to smile? My column on Henry Steele. It's only the first draft, but you'll get the idea.
You're really laying it on the line. Judy,
Take a look at this. When's it going to be in the papers?
Well, Fred, if it's all right with you, I want to run it next week.
It's great with me.
I'm going to be on the air next week. I want to run it while I'm on.
You're going on the radio. Did you hear that, Judy?
Yeah.
Whose show?
Filling in for Barry Gray while he's on vacation. You know the show?
Yeah, that guy gives late interviews. A lot of guys in our local listen in.
I'll be on 2 hours a night for 5 nights, Fred. Until we finish off Henry Steele.
Could I come on the show with you, Vic?
Fred, you might be asking for more trouble than you've already had.
Would it help if I was on?
It'd make the show.
What do you think, Judy?
Whatever you want to do is all right with me, Fred.
Come on, come off it. What do you think?
Judy, your cooperation is just as important as Fred's.
You both want to know? Well, look at me. Look at my hands. I haven't been able to catch a breath since the first night you spoke to Mr. Rizal. I haven't slept, and I wanted to stop now. You asked me and I told you.
I guess it's up to you, Fred.
I'll be there, Vic.
Hutton's Restaurant in New York, where Victor Rizal was conducting the popular midnight interview program over radio station WMCA.
Last 15-minute segment in about 30 seconds, Mr. Rizal.
Okay. Well, Betty?
No answer, Vic. No answer at his house.
Well, can't wait any longer.
I'll keep trying.
Right.
Stand by to go on the air, Mr. Rizal.
Okay, I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Victor Rizal, filling in again for Barry Gray. Our subject for these last few minutes of remaining airtime is labor racketeers. And beside me, as I talk to you, is graphic proof of the power of these unscrupulous men. It's an empty chair. And the man who was to have been the hero of this broadcast tonight was to have sat in that chair and told you the truth about his union. But the men who run his union, the racketeers who took over his union, successfully kept him from making this program tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, I have some facts. Correction, please, ladies and gentlemen. They tried to keep him from this program tonight, but here he is. Fred Lowry, say hello to the radio audience.
I'm glad I could make it.
Yeah, talk into the mic, Fred. All right, now let's get going. What delayed you, Fred?
Well, they tried to threaten me, my wife, and my son. And then tonight they warned me to shut up or they'd go after my kid.
But you decided that the only answer was to stand up to them.
Well, I talked it over with my wife. And we're scared. And we admit it. But we figure it's better to be scared and try to do something about it than let them take over and run your life.
Now, Fred, you're a veteran, aren't you?
That's right.
And you were a prisoner of war?
That's right.
And you're not working today. Why is that?
Well, I was suspended from my local, and they tore up my union card about a month ago.
Why were you suspended?
Because I asked for a Democratic vote when these hoods muscled in.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You go to the movies and you see this kind of thing in gangster pictures. But this is the real thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is something you should get angry about. This really happened. A veteran prevented from working. His family threatened by goons. And yet he's man enough to stand up and face those threats. Now, Fred, can you tell us who's behind these threats, this racketeering?
His name is Henry Steele.
Is he part of the labor movement?
No, Vic. He's just a racketeer, that's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember that name. Henry Steele. I promise you I won't rest until he and all others like him are rooted out of labor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're not condemning the labor movement. Most of the leaders of the labor movement are honest men of courage and vision.
2:10 a.m., Rizel left Hutton's restaurant with 2 members of his staff. It is believed that they were followed. But Rizel did not notice this. He had no reason to. As a newspaperman, he was immune. At 2:45 a.m., Rizel and his party left Lindy's restaurant where they had gone for coffee. Here the party broke up. Rizel and his staff secretary proceeded toward 51st Street where Rizel's car was parked. It is believed that they were watched from the corner. But Rizel did not notice this either. He had no reason to. He was immune. A hand emerged from the shadows. Rizel's first reaction, a beggar about to ask for a handout.
Vic, what is it? What happened?
I think it's acid.
Rizel was rushed to the hospital. 3 weeks later, he was pronounced totally and permanently blind.
Vic?
Fred Lowry. Come here, you son of a gun. How are you?
Fine. We'd come sooner, only the doc told us to wait.
Hello, Mr. Rizel. How are you?
How you 2 kids getting along?
Okay. We've got police protection now.
Yeah, me too.
We saw. We had to squeeze our way past the whole precinct out there in the hall.
I guess they don't know I'm immune. The unwritten code of the underworld. How dumb can I be? Immune. Nobody's immune, Fred. Nobody. That's what I gotta tell the people. That's what I gotta make them understand.
Sure, Vic.
They think they got me stopped. Even you have your doubts, don't you, Fred?
No,
Sure you do, kid. Sure you do. You wouldn't be human if you didn't ask yourself, how can these guys be licked if they'll go this far? Well, let me tell you something. What I can't see, I'll feel and I'll hear. 100 times more. But my column's gonna go out every day. That's my answer.
Mr. Rizel, I've got no right to even open my mouth. Except to tell you what a wonderful person you are. But I wanted to come because what I mean is you make us feel like we're not alone.
Come here, both of you. I want to tell you something. We're a pretty good combination. A newspaper man, a rank and filer, and the guy's wife. That's a pretty good army. But I'll tell you something even more important. We might even be able to recruit some others.
And the American people demanded that something be done. Perhaps the statement that best expresses America's feelings about what Victor Rizel has done and what has been done to him came from Vice President Richard Nixon. Vic, he said, this attack is a great tragedy, a great personal tragedy for you are blind. But because you are blind, I am sure that millions of Americans are now going to be able to see that when racketeers move into the labor movement or any other American institution, it's everybody's business to do something about it. I am sure that all Americans, as a result of your courage, will join this battle and win it. A story written, lived, being lived every day on Deadline.